let's just get back to the business. So we are going to talk about the one to many and many to one mapping right now. So first of all, let me just open up my DB, the setup here, and I've just created a table here called one to many. Okay, just a sec. Let me have some water. Okay, so you're going to be working with this schema right now. So the next thing that I'm going to do over here, I will walk you through my IntelliJ ones. I've done a very little setup to save some time, and I'll tell you how it looks like right now. I've just used the same components that we have created in the last session. I'll just give you a walkthrough very quickly. Nothing, couple of entities only I have created, so don't worry about it. I'll explain you everything from scratch. The main goal today will be setting off a one to many and many to one relationship. Okay, and we'll understand every bit of this, the way it works. But before that, we'll be needing some tables, as you know. So what I have done in my one to many project, I have couple of entities, and I have the exact same entities that we have created last time. Okay, I kept the exact same entity. I have a class called address. It has few properties here called address ID, house detail, city, state, and blah blah blah, which basically stores the address of a person. And in this case, we want to store the address of a student. Okay, so we also have a student here, and we have the details of the student, like student ID, student name, mobile, and blah blah blah. So we have a couple of entities over here, and also whatever I have done here, I have a couple of repository. One is address repository. This repository I'll be using to save the address details to the DB, and also I have a student repository, and this repository I'll be using to save or update or query any student related things from my database. If I want to query or if I want to save anything to my database of a student entity, I'll be using this repository. I hope that this things make sense. And in my service class right now, what I have here, I have created a method here called save data. I'm creating a address of a student. I'm creating a new address object. I've shown you the address entity just right now. So one address object I'm creating, and here goes my details of the address. Let's say this is the house number, this is the city, and this is the state of a student. And this is how I've created the address object. And here I'm creating the student object by passing in the name of the student and the mobile number. The ID of the student and the address will be auto-generated whenever we'll be saving it. And here we go. Here we are saving it. Like we are using the student repository. I have auto-added it. Okay. And saving the student object over here. This object that I have created, I'm saving it over here. And I have used the address repository to save the address object that I have created over here. That's it. Okay. And on my resources, I have the application.properties. Here goes my details to connect to my database. The username, the password, and the data source. Look at the schema that I have defined here. Is the one to many. Okay. I think this makes sense. And I have set the rest of the properties as it is. I want to show my SQL. I want to print it to my console, and I want to have a colorful console with the colors. That's why I have added this ANSI enabled, and I have formatted my SQL. Whenever I'll be printing the SQL to my console, I want a little bit of formatting, and I also want the tables to be created by the Spring data or the hibernate behind the scene. That's why I have written create over here. So all set. I have the save data method, which will help me to save this record to the database. Okay. So right now, what I can do, I can go to my one-to-one application, and this is my main application. I've implemented the command line runner, overridden the run method, and calling the save data method that I have just given you a walkthrough. Okay, all set. Now I'll be starting my application. I'll click on run. Okay, and let's just see whether I'm able to create a couple of entities, address and student, couple of tables. Right now, am I able to create them? And am I able to add the data that I'm inserting over here? Let's just see whether that happens. And there is no errors in the console. So looks like the things went smoothly. Let me just refresh this guy. And on my table right now, I have the address table. Here goes the address data. Okay. And I have a student table. And here goes the student related data. This is the ID. This is the name. And this is the mobile. Why I get this extra table? Start from 1000. Anybody remember from the last session? Why I have this start from 1000? What it does? Anyone?
A sequence generator.
Yes.
Sequence generator. Yes.
Are you guys talking? I'm not able to hear you.
A sequence generator, Abhilash. It generates a sequence.
Are you guys talking? One second, guys. Hang in there. Audio. Select microphone. Oh, select a speaker. Sorry. Select a microphone. I just changed the wrong setting. Guys, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So throughout the videos you are hearing, right? Whatever I'm explaining, or like it was all good, right?
We are hearing, Abhilash. So
tell me
you
the
are
reason.
able to hear our voice only.
Yeah, your voice I am not able to hear. Exactly. Now I am able to hear. Swati, can you tell me the reason? Why did I get this start from 1000 table? What it does?
We have given sequence.
Exactly.
While creating the identity.
Exactly. So basically what I want, if you can see here, in the student table, my primary key starts from 1, but in the address table, the primary key starts with 1000. Okay. So this 1000, the next primary key will be 1001, then the 1002, and the 1003. The next one will be that sequence. It is saving here. Now it is saying that the next primary key value for the address will be 1001. Why it is coming? Because in the last session, whatever I did over here, for the address primary key address ID, I've added a sequence generator, which initial value will be 1000, and it will be starting from, it will be keep on incrementing 1 with that initial value. And I have given the name start from 1000, and there goes the table name start from 1000 right here. And I'm using this name over here in the generator attribute for the generated value. And that's why you can see the address values are right now starting with 1000. Just want to have some separation of the separation between the address ID and the student ID over here. The student ID starts from 1, but the address ID is 1000. I am sure that you guys are in sync with me till now. But do you have any questions so far? I think you all are good. Can you give me a confirmation? Everything good so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All good. Yes.
Save method we are using both for update and create a new query.
Yes.
Old data is there, it will automatically update, right?
Exactly. If it will be update, it will make a query first. See, it's very simple, Anil. Whenever you are saving anything, right? Right now we are saving this data. Let's say Abhilash. This is a object. In which state it is right now? It's in transient state. We haven't saved this object to the database, so it's in transient state. It's not managed by the session factory or the persistence context. But the important thing to see over here, the ID I have not mentioned here for the student or for the address. So when the ID is null, the same method sure that right now this is an insert that I want to make. Okay, that's why it's basically inserted the data straight away. If you can see here, I should have get an insert query for the 1 second. For the student, I have the insert query, and there goes the data for the mobile and the name. Okay, now I just want, it's a very good question. I just want to also visualize the values over here in the question parameter. So guys, if I want to check, let's say I'm saving the student data over here. This Abhilash is a student that I have created over here, and there goes the insert query. Is formatted beautifully. I want to check the data that it is inserting. Then what I have to do? If I want to check what data is getting inserted, what data is getting set with this question mark, what should I do? Anyone? Yes? Guys, come on, man. You know it.
Some property have to set.
Which property? I also forgot, Digna. Maybe a binding parameter. Let's say Spring Data JPA binding binding parameter properties. It must be a JPA properties for sure, but I don't remember the exact hibernate properties for this. So one second. Binding a Spring Boot. Let me just write parameter properties. I think this will work, right? org.hibernate.orm.jdbc.bind. I think this will work. I think this is the basic binder. I think this is what I'm looking for. Let's just look over there. Let me just go to my project application.properties, and over here I want to set this guy. But I think, oh, okay, let's just check this. Okay, I'll copy this guy and paste it over here, and I'm gonna say it to true. Okay, let's just check if that works. Let's just run this again, and let's just see like whether our insert queries right now does get the value right here. No, one second. Binding parameter, right? Okay, let me just check this logging label. Okay. Oh, I think we have to set it to trace. Yeah, maybe this will work. Let's just check. Is it printing? Yes. Last time did it print? I don't think so. Okay. Now it is printing the values, right? So let's just see. Let's just close this. Okay. Now let's just analyze our insert query for student insert queries over here. Okay. Now look at this, Anil. We have couple of question mark. For the first question mark is the mobile. Here goes the data that we are setting with the mobile. Then the name, and here goes the data that we are setting for the name. Okay. And our record is getting inserted for the student right here. But the ID is auto-generated. So whenever we are saving something, right? Let's say whenever I'm saving this student object over here, I'm not setting up the ID. The save method is basically looking into it, that okay, this object does have an ID assigned to this or not. If the ID is not assigned to this, this will be a save, okay? Or this will be a insert. If the ID is assigned to this object, let's say I'm manually setting the ID over here, right? Then it will understand that this will be an update. So the save method at that time will fire a select query to check whether there is data available for the ID 1. And if it is there, it will fetch the data for the ID 1. And then it will compare this data and the data which has been existed, in case that the data has been existed in the DB. Okay, then it will make a comparison and will make an update. Okay, so the difference is the ID. If you're going to give the ID, okay, it will work as an update. It will make a select query to fetch the data. So in your spare time today, you can add the ID over here, okay, and try to save something. And you'll see that before making an insert like this, it will fire a select. Okay, making sense, Anil?
Yeah, established.
Okay, now let's just come back to the topic. Now, what is the thing that I'm trying to do over here? I basically have a address table and I have a student table, right? Now, what is the requirement here? Now, what I want, one student can have many addresses, okay? One student can have many addresses. One student can stay in Delhi, he can stay in Bangalore, he can stay in Pune as well, okay? Previously, the setup that we have done for the last session, it was a one-to-one. I said every student should stay or should have only one address. That time we have set up a one-to-one relationship. Right now, I want to have a one-to-many. Let's say one student can stay at many addresses, okay? So what I want basically in my code, I want this right now. Let me just make it maximize. I want this right now. I have address here. Now I'll create couple more address like this. Let's say this is address 1, this is address 2 or something like that. Okay, or I'll say address 1, address 2, address 3. Now I have 3 addresses. Let's say he has 3 home. One is G1, one is T1, let's say T1. This is a house name or something. You can treat it like this. This is in Pune, okay, and this is in Maharashtra, okay, and you have another one. Let's say Q1. Let's say this is the flat number, okay, and let's say this is again in Bangalore and in Karnataka. So he has around 3 addresses right now. So what I want to save each of the address right now. Address 1, Control C, address 2, and address 3. Let me just change this, address 2 and address 3. So I'm saving all of my 3 addresses and saving my student right now, Avilash. Okay, now I'll just run this. Okay, now what you will be observing on the DB, I have the student over here and I have the address over here as well. One second, but I have 3 addresses right now. So right now there is no relationship between this table. Okay, if I want to go to the address table and if I want to check in which address or this address belongs to which student, I have no way to identify that. Or if I'll go to the student table, if I want to check this student stays in how many addresses or what are the addresses which are associated with the student, I have no idea. Like I don't have any reference here to the address table so that I can guess, okay, this student ID 1 has this addresses. Okay, I have no relationship established right now. So that's what we're going to be seeing. Now the biggest question is how to set up the relationship between the student table and the address table. Address is a table, student is a table, right? But one student has many addresses. Imagine all these 3 addresses right now belong to the same student. So how can we set it up? Okay, where to place our foreign key, in the student table or in the address table? Anyone?
Address
Student table. Student
Address
table.
There's
table.
the confusion. So if you have watched the hibernate videos already, it should make sense. Okay,
Address
I will
table.
give you a deep dive. Yeah, so I just want to hear your answer and why. Yes. No,
it is
first you tell
address
me
table.
only one line answer. Address table I have to keep the foreign key, or the student table I have to in the address table should I create a foreign key like student ID?
Address table.
Address table.
Address
Yes.
table.
Address.
Okay, guys, I have a question. Okay, forget about this. I will just take you to somewhere else. Let's say this is a old slide only I'll run, but this will make sense. But before I ask you that, I'm asking you a question. Okay, think about it. I have a table called student. I have a table called address, and both I want to set up one-to-one relationship. Okay, let's say one student will have only one address, and one address will be assigned to one student. So in that case, where to keep the foreign key? If I want to set off a one-to-one relationship,
It is
Student
another
table.
table.
Foreign key.
any table I can create the foreign key,
Yeah.
right? In the
Yes.
student
Yeah.
table, I can
Yeah.
create a foreign key address ID, or in the address table, I can create a foreign key student ID, right? And both of the table,
Yes.
I can do that. Okay. Maybe I will be showing you the exact same comparison. The way you are very confident about this, the same way you have to be very confident about where to create the foreign key. That's the first thing. If you can solve it, I don't care how big your entity relationship diagram will look like. You will be easily able to put the foreign key and define the foreign key. And that's the first thing whenever you'll be designing your relational database diagrams there, because that's pretty much important. That's the first step. Before doing the Java stuff, you have to understand this. Imagine I have the student table right now. I have few properties, some random properties I have taken: student ID, student name, student mobile. And I have some address table, maybe address line 1, country, state, blah, blah, blah. Okay, these are the columns. Now look at this. One student will stay in one address. One student will stay in one address. That's the previous scenario. But right now our scenario is we want to set up a one-to-many relationship. One student can stay in many addresses. Okay, something like this. This is the student table. We have a student called Avilash. ID goes here, mobile number goes here. Another student, Robin, ID goes here, mobile number goes here. Now, primary key is student ID in the student table. We also have an address table. Let's say one is in let's say Indira Nagar. I wanted to write Indira Nagar. Indiranagar, Bangalore. It's a 101 address ID. Another one is Mayurbhanj, Orissa for the 102 ID. Okay. Another one is Paharganj, New Delhi. This is another address, has an ID, and this is the country where this address is. Some addresses is there, like Los Angeles and Denver. Okay, that's in US, and there goes the address ID. Okay, now here the address ID is primary key. Now I want to set up a relationship between this couple of entities or tables that I have. Now, if I want to check if this student of Vilas 1, which ID is 1, stays in which address, then I need to have a reference table or a stay table here, which will basically, I can have any columns in this table, but most important thing is a student ID and an address ID. Student ID from this table and address ID from this table. Okay, imagine this is the foreign key which refers to this table. This is the foreign key which refers to this table. And this is the foreign key refers to this table. This is the foreign key refers to this table. Now I have set off a relationship. Now I can have data like this, 1, 101. So Abhilash stays in Indiranagar, Bangalore. Abhilash stays in Mayurbhanj, Orissa. Abhilash stays in 103, which is Paharganj, New Delhi, right? Now, same like that. Number 2, Robin stays in Los Angeles. Robin stays in Denver, Colorado. Okay, so now I can have this reference table right now. By looking into this table, I can define the relationship. So this is my relationship table. This is my third table. So in one-to-many relationship, how many tables will be ended up with? This is a very important interview question. In one-to-many relationship, we always going to end up with 3 tables. Okay, the one side table, the student, the many side table, the address, and the relationship table. Okay, or maybe you can name it whatever, student underscore address or stay or whatever, right? Okay, this makes sense. Now, this is the scenario. We have the student table, we have the address table. Okay, we have the third table right now. This is the student is one side, address is many side. Okay, and we have the third table right now, which is student underscore address. We have couple of columns which are very important. You can keep as many columns as you want over here, but the first 2 columns. Okay, and let's say I have given the primary key tag to the address ID. Why? Because you can see in the student ID is repeating 1, 1, 1, 2. This is the student ID. 1, Abhilash has the address ID 101. Abhilash is staying in this address ID. Abhilash is staying in 103 address ID, which is Paharganj, New Delhi. Robin stays in 104, Los Angeles. The most important thing is that the student ID here, the values are repeating. The values can be duplicated over here. Okay, that's why this cannot be a primary key. But in the address ID, if you're going to see over here, we always going to have a new ID assigned for this address ID. Okay, so I made it the primary key. Now you think, okay, now you look at this table. This is a table, this is a table, and this is a table. Okay, can I merge this table to this side? Can I merge this student underscore address table right now to the student side just to reduce my 3 tables to 2 tables? If I want to do some normalization, can I merge the student underscore address table to the student table? Now you have to check. Okay, now what is the primary key here? Student ID. What is the primary key here? Address ID. Okay, and the values are different first of all. Okay, but if you're going to check this student ID here 1, 2, and if you're going to check this student ID here 1, 1, 1, 2, so there is no way I can merge this student ID and student ID, because if you're going to see this table and this table, the way you should normalize is you can look for the similar column. Student ID, we have a column in the student table. Student underscore address, we have a column here called student ID. So can you do we have the same value or similar value? No, here the values are duplicating. Okay, here the values are repeating. So I cannot merge this table with this table. Okay, so what I can do, if I can try to merge it right now with the address table by dropping that other table, now you can see I have something called address ID. The values are, look the values over here, and look at the address ID values that I have over here in this table. Now this and this is a matching column, right? Here the data and here the data, they both are matching. So so here also we cannot have the the duplicate data. because it was a primary key on the other table. And here also we cannot have duplicate data because anyhow the address ID is the primary key of the address table. Now here we can drop this address ID, and this is how our final table will look like. So in the one-to-many side, we always is going to have the foreign key set off in the many side. That's the rule. From today onwards, whenever you're going to be hearing, okay, you are setting up a one-to-many relationship, let's say student to address, in which side you will be having the foreign key, blindly go for the many side. Okay, now the many side is address, right? So here I have the foreign key student ID. Now I can look for, okay, this address 101 has a student ID 1, which is Abhilash. This address 102 has the student 1, which is again Abhilash. For 103 is also 1, Abhilash. For 104 it is 2, which is Robin, right? Now I think this makes sense, right? How you can merge the table, okay? Look for another scenario. You have a customer table. Let's say one customer will have many orders. Here is the order table. Let's say the customer 1, Abhilash, has order what items. How can you identify? Go for the third table, customer underscore order. Make the order ID as primary key because this is unique. Okay, so this will be the primary key. Now, how to merge it? Try to merge it with the many side right now. Go to the many side. Can it be merged? Yes. You have an order ID column. You have an order ID column. Values are matching. Data are matching. Drop it. Okay. So in which side we did merge? In the many side. Customer to order. One customer can place many orders, right? So here goes the customer ID in the order table. And that's how we can refer, like 101 order belongs to the customer ID 1, who is Abhilash. Making sense, guys? In one-to-many relationship, always your foreign key goes to the many side blindly. Making sense or not making sense?
Yes,
Guys?
yes.
Yes, right? Now,
Abhilash.
yes. Question? Question? No, right? So now the interesting part. Now let's just go to the our IntelliJ, right? 1 second, guys. Let me have some water. Okay. Now it's fun. Now let's just have some fun. Now what we have to do, we have to set up the relationship between the address and the student. Now every bit will try to understand, okay? There is no assumption here. So I think you have this foundation right now. One-to-many, foreign key will be going to the many side. So we have the one side student, many side is address. So here we should create a column called student ID. And for each address, we should define the student ID over here in this column. Okay. So go to our IntelliJ, close everything. Okay. Let's just minimize everything. Open up our entities. Address, student. Minimize everything. Let's keep them side by side. Like this. Okay. This is the student. Okay. I have created a student address, right? This address 1. I want to split to the right. Okay. Now look at this. You have the student entity. You have the address entity. Okay. So this is our one side or many side, guys? Student. Student is our one side or many side. One student will have many addresses, right? So student will be our one side or many side?
One side.
One side. Okay. Address will be the one side or many side?
Many side.
Okay, one student will have many addresses. So this thing is solved. So right now we know where is the what is our many side. Address is a many side. So where should we keep our foreign key right now in a one-to-many relationship?
Address side.
Address side, many side. Okay, let's just come over here. Let's just come over here. So what is the foreign key we want to create? We want to create a foreign key called student underscore ID. Okay. We want to create this foreign key, all right, in the address side. Okay, let me just create a variable. Let's say, let me just make it like, int student ID. Okay, in the address side, we want to create a foreign key called student ID. Okay, this is what we have seen. The address side here, we have to create a foreign key called student ID. Okay, now, so address to student. Okay. Address side to the student side. What kind of relationship it will be? Okay, many to one. Okay, so I'm going to be setting off my many to one relationship. Okay, so if I'm going to do this, so like, what my assumption is, so if you're going to use this annotation, this will create a foreign key called student ID in this entity called address. Okay. So in the address, right now we should have one more column, a foreign key column. Maybe I'm going to say underscore FK or something. Okay. It's a foreign key column. It will create in the address side. Okay. Let's just try to run this. Okay. I'm sure you're going to be getting an error right now. Okay. So it will not work. You already know why. So you can see the association, your ID that you have created, the properties that you have created right now over here called student ID foreign key targets type int, which is not an entity. So it will not be able to create a mapping. Okay. It will not be able to create a foreign key whenever the type is int type. Okay. Why? Because we just want to create a, we just want to create an integer value. We just want to store the integer value for the student ID, right? The foreign key I want to create here called student ID, just the way that I have shown you over there. Okay. I just have to create the student ID, something like over here, right? So what's wrong over here? The error is pretty straightforward, right? We cannot have this annotation on top of an integer. Okay. Let's think practically. Let's say you have the address value. You want to get a student. You don't want to get a ID of the student only, right? You want the entire student object. So always make sure here you write the object reference. Okay. Try to fetch the entire student value. So go to your one side, create a reference of your one side over here. Let me rename the variable name to student. Now look, it's very simple, right? We have the address side. We have defined the student side variable over here. So address to student, it is many addresses can be attached to one student. So many to one. Okay. Many to one. Student is one side, right? That's why I'm saying many to one. And I have written this annotation. Now, will the magic happen? Do a Control S, run this, and I'm sure that there will not be any exception right now because we have modified that int type to student type. We are just getting the entire object. So I'm just writing student over here, right? I want to get the entire student object value. Okay, something like that. I don't want to refer to, like, in DB side, it is always an ID, always an integer. But in Java, let's say if you have the reference of address, you want to get the student, you want to get the entire student object, not just the ID, right? So I'm defining the student and the object reference over here. Now, looks like everything works fine. Okay, you can see right now everything works fine. Okay, things are looking good. Okay, it's inserting some data and looks like there are a lot of things happened over here. Let's just go to our DB side and let's just confirm it once. We have the address table and there you go. We have the address ID defines here 100, 1001, 1002 and all the data are there. The important thing here is we also have this student underscore ID column. Okay. Why? So this is the foreign key, by the way. Okay. If you're going to click on this range mark, you can see this is the column which has been created right now because of that annotation that we have given over here. Because of this annotation that we have given over here in the address side. Okay. So in the address entity, it has created a column called student. It has taken the name like this, student, and the primary key of this student underscore ID. Okay. Student ID means it has given an underscore over here. So that's why it formed the name student underscore ID. Okay. That's why the name is student underscore ID. And this is the foreign key. If you're going to go to the foreign keys, you can see in the address table, a foreign key has been created, right? Which reference to the student table. Now the student underscore ID from the address table now map to the student ID column in the student table, which is good, right? We have the student ID column right over here. Okay, this is the primary key of the student table. Now in the address table, there is a foreign key called student underscore ID, and this is referring to this table, right? That's good. So we have a foreign key things created over here, but the data is not mapped right now. Okay. So now the foreign key has been created. Good job on that. You can see with respect to this annotation, it has created the foreign key. Well, if you want to change the name, if this name is confusing you, the foreign key that it has created in the address table, you can change the name of the foreign key as well. Okay, how can you change the name of the foreign key? Anyone?
Join column.
Join column. Okay,
Column name is to
join column name equal to whatever. Let's say address. So this is a student, right? Student information. So student underscore ID. In the address table, I'm creating a column called student underscore ID. Just to make you guys understand, I'm writing FK stands for foreign key. Okay, it's not creating the foreign key, by the way. I'm just giving the name as well, right over here. The only just to showcase you the name. Okay, now let's just see. Let's just go over here. Address table, go for it, and there we go. Student underscore ID underscore foreign key. Okay, now it has created the foreign key for me, okay, in the many side, address side, which is good. Now tell me guys, now everything is good, but whenever I'm saving the data, whenever I'm saving, it is not updating the foreign key over here, because right now I'm creating the addresses over here, but this address belongs to which student? That ID it is not updating. Now I have a student here called Avilas. His ID is 1. I want to map his ID to all these addresses that I have. Let's say this Avilas stays in all these addresses. So what I have to do?
Setting the address set the student. So.
Exactly. So in the one-to-one relationship, here I'm calling the save data method. Here I have created my addresses. Okay. And here goes my student. And I'm saving my student. I'm saving my addresses, right? So what I want to do, before I save my addresses, okay, once I save my student, I will say with this student, okay, with this address, I'm saving the address, by the way. The relationship is owned by whom? Who is owning the relationship? Address side or student side? Who is owning the relationship? Address
side.
Why you are saying the address is owning the relationship?
Because it is own the foreign key.
Because it got the foreign key, right? So what I'm expecting that whenever I'm going to save the address right now, here I'm saving the address right now where it is. Let's just go to IntelliJ. Let's just go to one-to-one application. This is the method where I have the logic. Maximize it. Here I have the address. Here I have the student. I'm saving the student over here. I'm saving the address over here. But once I save the student, I can say, or maybe even before it, to all these addresses that I have, now I can set the student object. I can say set student. I don't have the setter. So let's just go to the address. For the student thing that you have created, just create the getter and setter for the same. So I'll go all the way to down and right over here, I'm going to do command N, create getter and setter for the student, right? So now for this, I have created the getter and setter. Now let's just go to your service. I'm going to say set student and I'm going to set the student of the last to this. Okay, copy this, paste. And for each addresses right now, you have to set the student that you're trying to associate, right? Now, if you're going to do Control S and if you're going to do run as Java application, I'm sure the data will be pushed right now to each table. Now, if you're going to go to the address table, look at that. It has been updated for 1001, for 100, for 1001, for 1002, it has not been updated. Why? Because I have changed the references over here. So for 3, I have to set Avilash also, right? So for each column that I have, okay, for the addresses, I am just updating the student ID as 1. So now this student that I have, I've created this column and assigned that column to each of the addresses over here with this foreign key, okay? And everything that I have done over here using this guy, okay? Using this join column, I changed the name of the foreign key, but this is what is creating the foreign key, okay? Is this thing making sense, guys? Confirm me once. Confirm me. I'll go to the next step quickly. Making sense?
Yes, sir.
Nothing I have done, right? Set up this many side, create the reference of the one side and put this annotation. It will automatically do everything. Making sense? Yes, right? Only one thing you guys can do if this code looks lengthy to you, whenever you are creating the address, right? Let's say you are creating the address over here. So whenever you are creating the address, just set the student data in the constructor. So student, and I can just say this dot student equal to student. So the student will be set over here, right? So whenever you are creating the address, you create the student over here on the top, okay, and take this reference, and whenever you are creating an address object, attach the student with it. So you don't have to set it explicitly, right? I think this will also do the trick for you. Okay, if I'm gonna run this should work. Okay, now the rest of the things will be like a cakewalk. I think you can understand everything very easily. It will do the exact same thing, nothing fancy over here. I think this is making sense. Now I have a question for you. Okay, now if I'll close this guy, I have the address, I have the student. Okay, I'll just get it to the other side. Now you look at this, guys. Okay, I have the address side, which is the many side. I have the student side, which is the one side. Now where did I set up the relationship? In the many side. Okay, with this annotation. I will comment this out right now. Okay, let's say I don't want to set up the relationship from this side. Okay, now I will also remove this constructor thing that I have just added. I'll remove this guy as well. Now you guys tell me. Okay, and also I'm using this constructor somewhere. Okay, let's say in the in the app service, I'm using this constructor somewhere. I'm commenting all this code for now, just for I'm not going to save anything, so I'm just commenting everything that I have in the saved data. Okay, going to it, Control S, and that's it. Right, so I have commented this out, and the getter and setter for the student also I'll comment it out. Now I have no relationship set up in the address side. Now what I want to do, I want to set up the relationship in the student side, in the one side. Now if I want to set up the relationship in this side, what I should do? Same thing. In the one side, I'll basically define a variable private address, right? Now one student will have many addresses, right? This is the one side, address is the many side. From the student end, one student will have many addresses. If I want to store many addresses, how can I store a collection of address, guys, in Java?
List,
right? Because I want to save many addresses, so list. Okay, and I'm gonna say, let's say addresses or something like this. Okay, now what annotation I have to put? From one student will have many addresses. Yes,
one to many,
right? One student will have many addresses. Boom. So we have everything set up right now. That's it. Our relationship is ready. Now I'll not try to save anything, guys. As I said, right? If I'll go to the service, in the service, let's say I have nothing here. It's not saving anything. Okay. So I can close the service. In the one-to-one also, I'll just comment out this save data. So it will not at all get called. Okay. Just for your understanding. So why it is okay. Control S. Okay. There is no error. Okay. Now tell me, if I'm going to run this, what will happen? I have this removed this thing completely from here. There is no relationship set up from the many side. Yes.
Create another table.
It will create another table, and perfect answer. Exact same example that you have seen right now. So let's just run this. It's running good. What this thing is does not exist. So maybe it's trying to drop something if it not exists. So let me just run this, and don't worry about that exception. So just run this again. So there will not be any exception right now. Okay, it will try while trying to drop some table to do the initial setup. Whenever it is not finding the table, it is throwing some exception. Not a problem. Okay, now everything is set up. Now let's just look our table that we have. How many tables we have? Just refresh it. Now look at that. You have the address table, where it will keep only the address related stuff, okay, including the address ID. You have the student table, where it will keep the student related data. You also have a relationship table called student underscore addresses, where it has created both of the column, address table It is right now it has created a column address ID, default name it has given. That means address table address ID and the student table student ID. So maybe if you're gonna go to this table and click on this range, it might have created two foreign key, as I have told you. One foreign key is referring to the student table address and another one is referring to the student ID, like whatever. Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, don't get confused about this. So it has created two columns. To make it very simple, it has created a third table right now where it will be keeping the relationship. It will put the address ID over here and the student ID over here. Okay, and that's how the relationship it will try to guess, because in the address table also it has not created any foreign key. In the student table also it has not created any foreign key. I hope this thing is making sense. Now this thing has been done whenever we are keeping a relationship like this in one-to-many. Okay, so to keep all the many records track, it has created another table where the mapping will happen. Okay, now let's just go to the saving. Let's just try to do some saving stops here. Okay, now we have a student. Okay, we have the addresses here. Okay, and now let's just try to save everything. Okay, I'll comment it out. Now I'm trying to save the student and I'm going to try to save the address, and in the address right now the constructor I modified. I'm not going to keep any student details over here. Okay, now what will happen, guys? Now here I'm trying to save the student and here I'm trying to save the address. Now if I'm going to save this, do you think my student data will go to the student table? The address data will go to the address table, student data will go to the student table, and the relationship data, the mapping data will go to this table. Do you think that will happen or that will not happen? If I'm going to run this, guys.
I think what happened.
It will not happen. Why do you think so?
Because you are not setting the list of addresses in the student.
Okay. What is that, guys? App service. App service dot save data. Save data method I'm calling. I'm just instantiating the address in the student stuff and trying to save it. First of all, let's just try to save it and let's just see what is going to happen right here. Okay. Let's just do this. Let's just go over here. Go to the address table. Yes, the address data has been saved. Let's just go to the student table. Yes, the student data has been saved. Let's just go to the student underscore address table. Oh, the relationship has not been mapped here. And as you guys said, right? Here I have not. Yes.
Student set address list.
Obviously. So right now we have not saved. We have not associated, right? So now this is my student object. What I want. Okay. So I want when the student I want to save. Let's say Vilas is my student. I want to set the list of addresses. So set address. The address was previously null, right? In the student, I also have this addresses. I need to set it, right? So what I can do, you can just do set address, right? So can I go over here? I can just do Vilas dot set address. Oh, I have not created the getter and setter for the set address. Okay. So it will set a list. So let's just go all the way to down and right over here, command N, create getters and setter. Okay, it will take a list whenever you are setting the address. Okay, save it, go to the app service and do a control space, set address. Okay, now what you can do, you can create an array list, okay, and can include all these three addresses inside that list by calling the add option and then pass that list object over here. Okay, or I can use some Java 9 feature, list.off, and I can pass all the objects over here. It will create a list out of it. Okay, and we'll send it and we'll set it. So I'll copy this, put it over here, put it over here, and put it over here. Change the reference 2 and 3, and there you go. Okay, so I'm setting the addresses right now. Okay, now if I'm gonna save this, okay, let's just try to see what is going to happen. Okay, let's just try to save. Okay. All right. Let's just come over here. Address, inserted, student, inserted, student addresses. Well, inserted. this student has this address, this student has this address, this student has this address. So student ID 1 has all these 3 addresses. So student ID 1 of Vilash has all those 3 addresses right now. 100, 1001, 1002. Making sense, guys? Whatever we have done here. Just confirm me once. Confirm me once, guys, please. Making sense?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Simple, right? Guys, simple. Alok, Archana, too late for you. Already, I don't know, like it's 1 p.m. already, or 1 a.m. already for you. People from EST, like if you're having issues, like you can drop Sarita. Like, you know, if I remember, like whoever is from EST, like, you know, you guys can drop if you guys want. But just confirm me, guys. Anyone else is having any issues with this much of concepts? Now you understand? Now you understand the thing? Now who is managing the relationship? Student or address?
Student.
Why you are saying student is managing the relationship? Why not address?
Because you are setting here.
Exactly.
Student.
This is the relationship. Student is the, actually if you're going to see technically right now, student is the inverse end. Why? Because technically we should have the foreign key in the address table. But right now, address is not managing anything, right? So we don't have any relationship set up over here. We have the relationship set up here inside the student table, which is good. Okay. Now, guys, I have another question. I have another question right now. Now, let's say, just tell me technically, okay? Again, I'll go to the app service right now. I will just, I'll just do one thing. I'll just comment out everything that I have here in the app service. Okay. 1 second, not this one. Okay. And here, this will also I'll comment it out. I'll not call the save data, so nothing will be inserted. My question is, okay, listen to this, huh? If I will go to my, okay, this is my app service. I'll close it. I'll split it out. Okay. My student relationship goes here. My address relationship goes here. Now imagine, in case I'll do this. Now what will happen? Okay. Now what I have the OneToMany relationship here. So the address will have many students associated. And here I have OneToMany setup. One student will have many addresses. Now what will happen? How many tables will be created, first of all?
Only one.
3.
Just guess it.
We should not give like this.
We should not give, actually, yes, Swati. We should not give like this. But in case we give, what will happen?
I think 3 table will be created.
Yes, 3 table will be created. Yeah, any other guess?
And address table having the foreign key also.
Exactly, Digna. So as we're giving the join column over here, for sure in the address table right now, we have going to one more column there in the address side. Okay, so for sure in the address side right now, we're gonna have one more column called whatever student ID foreign key. Okay, which will managing the student relationship. And in the address side, and as we have given the OneToMany relationship over here, it will also create that the third table, the student underscore address table. Okay, so I think 3 tables will be created. Okay, and in this table we also will have this foreign key setup. Let's just see. Let's just try to run this. Okay, but as Swati said, we should not do something like this. I'll tell you what will be the best solution. But 1 second. Okay, we'll go into this. Okay, so let's just go over here in the address side. Now we have this foreign key column right now, and also we have the other table here as well. It has not been dropped. Refresh. See, we also have this table as well. Now let's just try to insert some data and let's just see what is going to happen. Let's just go to 1-to-1. Okay, and close this, open this up, and let's just go to the save data. Let's say I'll uncomment all these things first of all. I'll create a student object. Okay, there we go. I have the address object set up. Okay, which is also good. Now I have set up the list of student, which is also good. And now I'm saving the student. Okay, and I'm saving the student and I'm saving the address. Okay. Now let's just see the data which is gets filled in. Okay. Let's just run this first of all. Okay. And now I think I'll have a puzzle. You'll be answering me this question. Let's just go over here. Let's just refresh this. And let's just go to the address table. Well, we have the data inserted, but look at this column. We didn't have the foreign key set up over here. The foreign key has not been updated over here. Okay. Okay. We'll understand this. And here in this third table, we can see the data. Okay. Which is good. Now, can somebody tell me in the address table, why this foreign key column right now didn't get updated?
We have not set.
Previously it was happening, right? No.
We have not set the student data while saving.
Now, guys, I have one question. I have this address. I have this student. I already have given you this answer in the last session. Now tell me who is the owner?
Address.
Address or student?
Address.
Why you are saying address?
Because,
yes. It has this join column, right?
Yeah.
It has this join column. So the address right now is owning the student, right? The address is right now owning the student. So this is the owner, right? So we have the foreign key over here. So this is the owner. Which is the inverse side? Student, right? The inverse side is student. So right now, who is owning the relationship? The address side. But when we are saving the data, how we are saving the data? Using the owner or using the inverse side? Let's just check that. Okay. So here is a logic. We are creating the student. We are creating the address. Then we are trying to save the student over here. Okay. So from the inverse end, we are trying to save the, let's say we're trying to save the student over here. Okay. And also we're trying to save the addresses over here. Now the thing is that here you have set the addresses with the student. You have set the addresses like that for each addresses. Okay. You also need to set the student. Okay. To be in sync. So for each addresses, you need to do set student, right? So in the address, you also have this guy, but where is the getter and setter for this? Let's just uncomment this out, right? Because otherwise the inverse side will never be updated, as I've told you. So just to set student and pass your student object. 1 second, which will be what is that? Abhilash is a student object. For each addresses that you have, also link the student, otherwise it will be null, right? So just set for address 2, for address 3, also set this guy, right? So you'll see the things will be updated. So let's just run this. Okay. One last thing, guys, don't worry. I think this will be interesting for you. Now in the address, we also have this data set right now. Okay. Which is good. Guys, just tell me this thing. Now, let's just tell me this use case. I'll just delete everything. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll go to the address side, and here in the ManyToOne, I'll say whenever you're going to be saving, or whenever we're saving the address, also cascade. Okay. Also save the student. So how can we do it? I can just do cascade type of persist. Okay. Cascade type dot persist. Okay. For an example, whenever I'll be persisting the address, I'll be also persisting the student. Okay. So in the app side right now, I have the addresses. Okay. Let's just try to persist the address. Let's say address repository dot save of Abhilash address 1. Okay. And I'll be saving all the addresses. Just for clarity, I'm doing this. I'm saving the owner. Okay. I'm saving the owner address 2, and also I'll be saving address 3. Okay. And whenever I'll be creating the address, okay, in the constructor, I will also take the student over here, because I don't want to explicitly set by calling the setter. Rather I want to pass this inside the constructor. So this dot student is equal to student. Okay, now I'll go to the app service here. Whenever I'm creating the address, I'm gonna also add the student to each of the addresses, right? Now tell me what will happen. Okay, now tell me guys what will happen. Now I'm saving the address. Whenever I'm saving, let's say here I'm creating the student, here I'm creating the address, I'm saving the address. Okay, let's forget about this couple of line. Let's forget about this couple of line. Let's forget about this line and this line. Think about only this use case. You have a student, you have an address. This address attached with this student. You are saving the address right now. Who is owning the relationship? Address. Why? The address is the join column. It's the foreign key. Okay, we're defining the foreign key over here. Now my question is, if I'll go here and if I'll call this method on my main application right here, okay, save data. If I'm going to run this, do you think first of all, in the address side, the foreign key that you have, will it be updated or it will not be updated? Guys, in the address side, you'll have a foreign key, right? That will be updated or it will be not be updated?
It will be updated.
It will be updated. But in this case, this will be updated or this will not be updated?
This also will be updated since we have given persist. Cascade persist.
But we don't have any data here.
It won't be updated.
It won't be updated. So how to update it? And why it didn't get updated? To get it correct, what should we do? Okay, if I want right now, okay, or whatever understanding that you have right now, it is not updating, right? It's updating the other table that we have, the address table. It is updating the data over here. It's giving the data. Now, if you're gonna uncomment all this code, you can see the data will be updated for everything, right? So this thing, if I wanna do this, okay, if I'm gonna run this, okay, for the address table, it is up anyhow, data will be updated. Like, here you'll have 3 columns. 1 second. In the address, 3 columns, and everywhere things are good. But here, data are not going into this. Okay. And you know how to basically set it up. You can also do this. So with the Avilash dot, so set address, and you can just do list dot off. It will create a new list. Pass in all your addresses like this. Avilash address 3 right here. Now this should work. Okay, this should work. Just understand this. I'm updating the relationship from the both side. Okay, so just understand this for now. Okay, so here also right now, do we get data? Yes, we get the data in the relationship table. Here, do we get data? Here also it is updated. Okay, all good, all good. So things are working. We need to explicitly set both of the relationship right now. Okay, cool. All right, guys, now one last use case, then we'll come back to the scenario and we'll wrap it up. Okay, before I tell you anything, first tell me guys, what is the need of setting up the relationship in both sides, in the student side also and in the address side also? Why I'm setting up the relationship from both sides? I've already told you.
Both directional.
What is that?
For bidirectional.
Exactly, bidirectional relationship. Because let's say if I want to get the data, right? For some scenario, if I'm getting the data, let's say public void get data. I have a method here. Let's say if I'm trying to get the address object, how can I get the address object? I can just do address repository dot find by ID. Let's say I'm getting the ID of 1001 of the address, and I'm going to do get of this. I'm going to get an address object. Okay, address. Okay, I want to get that object, so I'll get the address object of it. If I want to get the student from the address, I'm going to do address dot get student, and I'm going to get the student. I can also capture the student over here, right? And I can do whatever I want to do with the student. And the way I get the student, why? Because in the address side, I have this variable called student. You guys know about this, right? And same as the other side as well, right? From the student side, I can query as student, let's say of 1. I can get a hold of the student. I can copy this, Control C, paste it over here. Okay. And from the student right now, I can get the address, right? I can also get the address from the student. So I can just do student dot get address, and you can print this out. You can do whatever you want to do with this out. You can try this example by your own. You'll be getting it. The reason you can call this get address and get student method, because you have set up the bidirectional relationship right now. Okay. But one thing I'll tell you guys right now is Swati was saying, what the scenario that we have, we are ended up having 3 tables right now. We have the address table, we have the student table, we have the student underscore address table. Now this table, do you think it is required? Look for this address table. Okay, look for this address table.
No.
Looking into this table, can you tell
No.
this 1000 attached to which address or which student, guys? Number 1.
First student.
Number 1
Yeah,
student.
one student. Yes, yes.
There is no requirement of this table, right? So now what is happening? In our case, both of the student and address, one second, let's just go over here. Now, address is also having the relationship set up. It is also having the relationship set up. That's why we're having both of the table created. We don't want that, right? We don't want that. So in our case, we know the many side will take the ownership. The many side will have the ID placed over here. The many side will have the foreign key. That is enough. And the one side should not need to have the foreign key association, right? It should, so here, this is the owner because it has the foreign key. And in this side, it doesn't need to do anything, right? It can depend. Here only we're setting the relationship. This guy can rely on this, right? So here, how we can say to the student entity that, hey, student entity, you don't have to bother about the relationship. You don't have to create another table to track it out. We already are maintaining this in this join column, in this student ID foreign key column, in the address table. We have this column. There only you can rely on that table, that column, in order to get the data, get the information. Okay?
Mapped by.
Mapped by,
Mapped
right?
by.
So we can say, hey, dude, student, you don't have to bother about the relationship. You don't have to create a new table. Okay? You get the details, right? We have done the setup of the relationship in this class, in this property. Go to address class, look for this property called student and put it over here. Okay? That's it. Okay? Now you have the mapped by right now. Now, when the student entity will be created, it will say, oh, okay, if I want to get the address data, okay, I can go to this class, look for this property, which is this guy. Here, the developer has set off the relationship, okay. So it can go to this table, okay, and look for this column to find that student is attached to which address, okay. Okay, so now the student table, okay, will always going to look for the address table, this column, okay. It will not create this table right now where it is maintaining its relationship, right? So by doing so, by writing this mapped by annotation, I'm telling to this entity that, okay, you don't have to worry about the relationship. The relationship is already set up in the inverse end, and this address is owning that relationship, and that relationship to check where the relationship has been set up, look for the property called student and look for the column name here called join column called student ID foreign key. Okay. Now if I'm going to run this, okay, if I'm going to run this right now, how many table will have? First of all, 2 tables. The third table will be dropped. Okay. Let's just run this. Okay. Let's just, so did all the table got dropped because we are changing the structure of the table. So and let me drop it manually. You might get some exception when the hibernate is trying to drop the table. Okay, we also have some duplicate entry because it didn't drop the table. That's why I think we are having this issue. Can we try to run this again? Let's just check. I have dropped everything manually, the table. I should not get any exception. Yeah, there is no exception this time. Okay, now let's just go to the one-to-many, refresh everything. In the tables right now, we don't have the third table, which is the good thing. In the address, we have this guy, okay, and the relationships are updated. In the student, we have only the student data. We can refer to this table right now, okay, to look for this address is attached to which student. I hope this thing making sense. Can you just tell me, is this thing making sense, guys? right now?
Abhilash, can we do reverse like here, like mapped by if I keep like
No.
a join column here?
No, don't do that. So you already know why, Swati. Just ask yourself the same question, right?
No, but since we don't have any join column in the student table, like we should not do this, right?
Exactly, we should not do this.
In that case, exception will be get, no?
You just check and just let me know.
Because in that case, foreign key should not is not getting unique because the student ID.
Exactly.
Yeah, it may also create a table like with the join column created by us. right?
But in that table, which will be the foreign key? You just check. You just check the scenario. Okay. Just check the scenario by yourself, guys. Okay, don't want to get into that. But I think you can able to do that scenario by use case by yourself. But always do the things like this only. Okay. I just have one last question. If you guys can. The EST people, please drop if you still here. Archana, if you, I don't know like how you are attending. Maybe 2 p.m. For you right now. If you want to drop, you can drop, please. But yeah, one last use case. Can we go for this one last use case? But this thing making whatever we have done is making sense to you guys, right? I didn't complicate it, right? Can you confirm me?
Yes, Abhilash. Yes.
Yes, Abhilash.
Yeah.
Yes, Abhilash.
Digna, everything good?
Yes, Vilash.
Okay. No. Just tell me honestly, Digna. Everything. I'm not confusing.
Yeah.
I'm not confusing,
No,
right?
you are not confusing. Everything is.
Okay, perfect. Oh, okay. So now you understand. This is the who is the owner? Student or address? Address is the owner. Why? Because it has the foreign key. This is the owning end. This is the non-owning end. This is the owning end. This is the inverse end. Because here, the inverse side, we are not maintaining the relationship. We are just keeping this just to get data, right? So okay, that thing is good. I think I have to give you one last. I think I have few scenarios and use case in my mind right now. Should we go for it right now, or we should have another call for this?
Yeah, we can go ahead.
I don't know. Okay.
Hi, Abhilash.
Abhilash, like when we have fetch and these things.
Yes, that is the only thing that I want to hear. Guys, just mute everyone. Mute. I'll tell you the scenario. Okay. So see, guys, page thing we will understand a little bit right now. Just tell me. Okay. I will go to my one-to-one application. Okay, we'll go to those complicated scenario later. I'll go to the service class. Okay. I think I have inserted some record. So I'll go to the properties and I'll make it update right now, so it will not drop the table. Okay. Now I'll go to the which one, app service again. Let's say I have that get data method. I deleted it. Okay. I have a method. Now I have 2 or 3 questions for you. Okay. Simple question. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes only we'll be wrapping up. Let's say I have a get data method. Here I'll be getting the data. I will have a statement here. Let's say from the address repository, I am gonna find the address which ID is 1001. Okay. Now I'm gonna do .get over here. Okay. And I'm gonna do command option B here, and that's it. Okay. Now I have the address. Now my question is, if I'm gonna do s out, okay, and if I'm gonna do address like this, and I'm gonna do get, okay. Let's say if I'm gonna do address, and if I'm gonna print the address, just the address, s out, address. Now tell me, guys, the select query it will fire. Will it fetch the student also? Whenever the address data I'll be finding, will it also fetch the student data? I'm not using the student data, by the way.
No.
I'm only getting the address, printing it. No? Why do you think so?
It is menu to one in the sense like
it is lazy.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Okay.
No, sorry. In that case, fetching in that menu to
one address. I'm trying to fetch only one address. Okay, you answer me this.
It's fetching.
I'm only fetching only one address, right? We have this 1001 here, right? Can I run the query again? Yes. So how many student will be associated with this address? Only one, right?
One.
Okay.
One.
So I'm only trying to paste the address right now and printing it over here. So obviously I'm getting the address data. There is no big deal with that. My question is just, am I also going to get the student data fetched by Hibernate? Okay. Let's just check.
It should fetch actually.
It should fetch. It should fetch. Look at that.
Yes.
It is fetching, right? So, okay, I understand that. So the thing is that in the single point association, let's say in the address right now, you are basically getting one student back. So whenever you're going to get one student back, which is associated with that address, for many to one, it is always going to be a eager fetching. You can see the fetch type has been defined as eager for many to one. But let's just try to do from the reverse end, right? Let's just go to the app service right now. And let's just try to get a student right now. Let's say student repository. Let's just try to get the first student. And I'm going to say student and student right here. And try to print out the student over here. Okay, like this, right? Now if I want to run, what will happen?
Only student data it will fetch.
Only student data it will fetch. Why not the address data? The student also have association of the address, right? Because it is by default lazy, right? It is by default lazy. In the one-to-many relationship, as you're going to be fetching the list of addresses, the Hibernate is smart enough to know that, okay, one student can be associated with many addresses, okay? And if he has, it should not be the case, but if he has around tons of addresses, hundreds and thousands of addresses, everything will be fetched. So by default, one-to-many, the fetch type, whenever you got confused, come over here, the default is lazy. So whenever you're going to be running this, okay, you will see the select query will not have the join things like this. Okay, can I run this? Yes, I think I'm running. You can see it will only fetch the student data. The address data won't be fetched. Okay, if I'm going to run this, okay, look at the query it is generating, only fetching the student data and printing the data over here. And when the address data whenever I'm trying to fetch the address thing, then what will happen? Let's say here, after doing this, I'm going to have another s out and I'm going to do student.getAddress. Okay, and I'm going to print the address right now. Get address obviously has the toString overridden, so it will get everything right over here. I should have a toString which will access the student ID, name, and mobile, and at that time, then another query will be fired and the data will be fetched, right? Let's just try to run this. Let's just see what is going to happen. Okay, run this. Okay, get data method. This is the method I'm running, guys, by the way. Okay, and first I'm trying to print the student data. Okay, what is happening here? We are having a lazy initialization exception. Okay, why I'm having this exception? Anyone? Yes.
In that case, session is got closed, and then you are trying to access the student.
Okay, so the session is closed, huh? Okay. Let's just try to run this again. Okay, now look at this. Now you have you first it ran the select query for the student, found the select data, found the student data, printing it over here. Then whenever we're trying to print the address thing again over here, it ran the query again from the address table because it's a lazy loading, and then we are printing the address related data over here. I hope this thing is making sense. Understand always that for the single point, for the single point association like addresses, where we have this thing many to one, is always going to be eager by nature. If you're going to go into this, even you can read the documentation for single valued association, like you can look for this. Okay, I don't want to get into that, right? So for whenever you are getting it's not a list, right? So by default it will be eager. But in the other side, okay, if you're going to go to the student side, if you're going to fetch the student data, obviously it is a list, so Hibernate knows that it might be a performance issue, so it will load the data of the associated entity lazily. Yes. Yes, you are asking any question. You are asking questions. Yes. Anil.
Abhilash,
Yes.
we got one error, right? The lazy initialization.
That's because of the transaction, because the session was closed. After that, after it fetch the first thing right here, it was basically closing the session. Once we get the hold of the data, it is closing the session. Again, whenever we're trying to use this reference, it was not managed by that persistence context. Okay, it was already in the detask state. That's why we're getting that lazy initialization exception. So to make it happen in one session only, I just put the transactional annotation. So one transaction will begin over here, then it will get the data and load it into the persistence context, and the persistence context in the session will only be closed in here in this stage. But in the other scenario, here only the session was getting closed. That's why we're getting that lazy initialization exception. I have the detailed video on that. Maybe you can go for it, Anil, on the hibernate session. Okay, let's not talk about this annotation right now. But I think if this makes sense, question, Anil.
That's all.
Sham, Avi, I have a small doubt. What about the student ID 2 also have the same address? Student ID 2, student ID 2, student ID 2 also can have the same address, not a problem, right? But that should not be it should be a very bad design, Sham, right? We'll talk about this situation maybe in the next class, right? I'll also give you some examples, and that will be better. Let's not have any more confusion today. I think this is pretty much enough. Go ahead and practice all of your use cases, Sam, this use case, and a couple more things. I think the use cases Swati asked, and plus I have also a lot of things to show you, right? How to basically sync the relationship and everything. This will be a very important thing to understand, because you will get this kind of scenario many times in your real time. So we'll talk about all these things in the next class. So let's have a class on Wednesday. Are you guys available? Okay. All right. And also the people from EST, they also can join. Okay. Not a problem. So try attending the Wednesday session. We'll wrap up this one-to-many and many-to-one relationship. Okay. Thank you, Anil. Okay. Let's just.
I will ask one thing. Abhilash.
Yes.
Suppose in my DB environment, if the DB people has designed the table like this, not keeping the student ID in the address table, and suppose if the DB person has designed like this, like to want to maintain a separate, then I should do like this, right? Mapped by keeping.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. And also in that case, also the scenario that you told me, Swati, mostly they will not do like this, because what you want to achieve is you want to achieve normalization, right, Swati?
Yes.
In our VTech days also we have studied about it, right? That's the first thing we should do, the DVA should do. But in case they are doing it for some reason, the normal mapping, the way we should map, we can map it like that. And we have already done the similar situation. So just try to do some hands-on on this, and some more useful scenarios. We'll have a 1-hour call on Wednesday, and we'll complete it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. We go to the entity update. Entity.
Which
address.
entity?
Okay. Address.
Yes.
Entity.
Yes.
Okay. In service you are saving, right, previously?
The service you are saving previously, yes.
Here you written one more transaction at the transaction, right? After. No, not here. You got on lazy initialization. Here. So what happens? It's lazy initialization, right? So in the student address is not there. Okay. Again, we are using that address. That time we are getting lazy initialization exception, right?
In the student, address was not there. No, here also we have address, right? Here we are fetching the data. So basically what is happening? If this one will work, this one will work without a problem. There won't be any lazy initialization, because we're just loading the data straight away to the session or the persistence context, right? So here you can see you are having the
student one. You save that student object once.
No, save
repository. Just save it.
So you want me to save and load in the same time?
Save method.
No. Anil, you want me to save and load in the same time?
No. Scroll down. here we are fetching the data, right?
Correct.
Fetching the student data and save it once again.
I'll save it once again, you are saying? Okay. Okay.
Save it, yeah. It's updating or creating.
Okay. It will definitely update because it has an ID, right? So even I can just do this student dot. Let's say the name I'm changing, I'm changing it to Anil. Okay. Even I don't have to call the save method Anil. Even if I don't do anything, if I'll do this only with a without a transactional, if I put the transactional without transactional.
Yes.
Okay. Student repository dot save
Dot
student I want to pass, right? This is what you're asking? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Let's just run this. So we okay, let's just run this. It will issue an update statement, I believe. Don't tell me that it will create a student. Okay. If it will create a student, I'll run away. Then my
update only, right?
Update, obviously.
My application
First, see, it made a select query. It found the student, load it into the persistence context. Then whatever the student it has been loaded to the persistence context, that data is in sync with the DB. Okay. And now this is another modification you have done to the object that you have over here. You have done some modification. Then this object will be compared with the object that you have loaded in the DB. In case the object is dirty, it will make a persist call. Okay. But we have already the ID, right? That's why I made a select query, right? So it will do a merge. It will do a merge. It will do a update. Right? Yeah. But in case
my application, same thing we are using, it is creating new thing every time.
1 second. Set address ID and actually this is integer or int. It is integer, If it is integer, I cannot give 0. I just check with this. Make it integer. Okay, make that ID integer right here. I don't want to do that by myself. You change this to integer, set it to null right here. Okay, and then you will see it will create a new it will create a new record for the student. Okay, it will not actually make an update. Anil. Okay, and this save method also you don't need to call. If you have the transactional, it will only open the transaction over here. It will do automatically commit over here. And if the data has been changed and modified, the persist will be automatically happen. So the update will happen automatically in this case. So if I'm going to write here Obi again, okay, Abhilash, then with the transactional, even I don't have to call this save method. Okay, so I'm going to run this.
It automatically save.
Yes, it will automatically save. Go look at this. Okay, because the session will be right now managed by Hibernate, and it will create the persistence context. It will create a transaction here. Then once the object has been loaded, it will be tracked by the persistence context. Okay, and if it finds that it has been changed, then the commit will automatically happen over here. Look for the transactional videos on the Spring and Hibernate series, Anil. I haven't covered it in your batch. There is a complete 10 to 10, 15 videos over there. Okay.
Abhilash, you said like why the saving is not happening like even though we have the propagation cascading there, right?
That scenario we'll see in the next class. I'll go deep into that, Swati. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's just wrap it right now. I actually need to take my family out at 10:30. Okay, I told them I'm going for a 1 hour call. But look, it's 11:30. I am sure that they'll be scolding me today. But that's fine. So as long as you guys are okay with this, I'm sure that I'm also good. And my camera is also died. It just recorded for an hour because I set the timer for an hour, and then we went for 1 hour 45 minutes or so. Okay. Anyhow.
Abhilash, don't you have React to old videos, Abhilash?
Sorry. React?
You said you
sure, Tigna, you can leave now. Yeah, Ashwati. React?
You said you are going to extend React to in a freshly, but don't we have old sessions happened on React?
No, I didn't have add those sessions to your playlist. This is those are the different batch sessions. Right now I'm gonna make it free for you guys. We'll record it right here. Okay, because I'm just taking this classes casually, right? just some random topics. Once the sessions are back, we'll go in one by one on one topic only, Swati. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. That's it. Yeah, leave Anil. Thank you guys. Have a good day. And I'll see you guys in the next session. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Recording stopped.